So, at any rate, I was talking about that, and I wanted to also bring up that the very next day after I went to the health club, did some Tai Chi and yoga, about maybe an hour and a half or so, and then then it opened. Okay, and I would have opened all the way, like I said. I bailed because of recovering from that, and I'm getting ready to go to work, and it's very, very powerful, beyond power, unfathomable power that we can only peek at. You know, it's always funny, the center of China, the city, peaking. That's what we were doing. We can do. We can peek at it, and then being, they used to call it. It's those two names of those cities that kind of have a resemblance to Uh, and when I speak of the astral body, I'm not really applying to the Chinese and Asian cultures, but some maybe. They are. That's really the ethereal body. It takes on it, the Chinese Asian eyes. I showed you that. Why? Okay, so that's beyond the astral body world of light. Okay, so, but you could discern that because I'm a man of one word. I'm only saying one word, really. All these other words are just to get you to the word that was in the beginning. In the beginning was the word. That word, Om. I say Om because it's a rumbling, thundering. That sounds like Om. Anybody, you will see when you experience this yourselves, you will see why I say I went to Om. Why I say that versus anything else, because they say, well, you can't communicate it, YHWH, you shouldn't say it. Well, but you can communicate about what's beyond. You could talk about what's beyond speech, what the source of intelligence is, where it is, and how to get there. But yes, it is, the experience itself is beyond and before the BB gun. Okay, so at any rate, the eye and tongue mudra, you see this, you see Sadhguru and Yogananda, they'll move their eyes up they'll just move them up like this. And they'll put the tongue up on the roof of their mouth. Okay, those are ways to connect the correct circuitry of the chi flow. Prana, the circuitry, which is important when they're in the higher chakras, the higher levels of our energy in our brain. Okay, so, but when you're in the headstand, those mudras, the force of gravity being upside down, they happen kind of naturally, so I will naturally, when I'm doing this, like if I would have followed through when I started getting disorientated real bad, I knew that was going beyond my senses, that I was going beyond my senses to the formless reality. Okay, I would have did it, and I would have done these mudras when I was starting to go into it. I would have definitely moved to doing those mudras, the eyes up and the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And I don't know if you put your tongue to your roof of your mouth, this is just an offbeat exercise you could do to show you how we talk about what we see. That's and it's a fifth and sixth chakra good, and it's also go beyond that into the seventh. Okay, but you could put your tongue to your roof of your mouth and then roll your eyes around in a circle, 9 times one way, 9 times the other way, then move them back and forth sideways. You're going to find that your tongue moves when you move your eyes. Your tongue involuntarily moves because it's connected with the eyes like that, and eventually you can break that connection, which I do, but it's just helpful. It's just conducive to the experience. So anyway, the reason I only did 3 hours every day. I didn't do meditation when I was doing those 3 hours for those 3 weeks because my leg was hurting. Not my left thigh, all the way from the knee back up into my buttocks, because I think it was from the yoga I was doing, full lotus, and then I lay back and then I lay forward. And I think it stretched out such that it was bothering me too much, and I thought meditation was actually making it worse, and it was, so I prioritized the headstand, and just, it was still feeling it in the headstand. So, but that's why I only did through the 3 hours in the headstand. But it produced it in 3 weeks, which I'm super happy about. But the way the world's going, wars and everything, and economy, I don't know. But that's why it's important to get this out there. America is this is a last days probably of free speech, and they're going to be, the people that are in power don't want other people to have power, even if it's like, you could see how would they learn this in Ukraine, where everybody's running around picking them up and making them be a soldier, giving them a gun, go kill. You see that type of environment, they couldn't have access to a teaching like this. They can't. They're blocked from reaching God consciousness. They're not letting the people grow. These military commanders. Okay, let's take all your military commands and stack them up. What about, which commanding is a good word that fits with Om. You read in casting these books of Nagual's command, the 10 Commandments. It's commanding. It's a commanding force. It feels like a commanding, rumbling, thundering. Okay, but let's do this commandment. The commandment of Om. One who does the headstand 3 hours a day will surely experience Om. That's my version on one who practices headstand 3 hours a day will surely attain enlightenment. Thunderstanding is above enlightenment. That's Om, the rumbling, thundering Om. But there's definitely levels of enlightenment awareness. So anyway, I was just going to bring that at. I got a little black book that I just sometimes write down notes. I record them on my phone, and sometimes and then I bring them up and write them and do a video. Yeah. Just like Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within. The physical world is within. We are imparting or emanating physicality, all of it, out there, because you realize if I'm sitting here in my body of light right now, everything is light. And of course there's different properties. I could be in California in seconds in my body of light, bouncing skipping up across mountaintops in my body of light. So our body of light, so it's much different, okay? I went over that in another video, but the physical world is within just the same, and silhouetted upon the sunlight and everything, the divine white living light. We're also immersed in this divine white living light of heaven 24/7. Okay, and meditation is a metaphysical property, is to attunes us to that by nature. Okay, you could see the divine white living light coming down in love and peace. Well, the most peaceful is the meditators in stillness. That divine white living light will start to permeate them, but it will not permeate the others who are in a friction. They're in this dark light frequency, so it creates a friction and doesn't allow the divine white living light to permeate the way meditation does, and other things. But meditation is actually higher than prayer. Why? Meditation will take you into formlessness. For there to be a prayer, there has to be a person, a human form, or a celestial form. Okay, and meditation can take you into to be still and know that I am Om. As that verse, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am Om. Okay, the Spirit of God moved. It's the very first thing. It moved, so it was by nature and stillness. Okay. Okay. And then, yeah, for the divine white living light, this is an idea I had for great use of technology. An application called Dwell, DWLL, Divine White Living Light. And wherever we see violence or where people are in a state of vexation from another person, where they can't grow, that they can report that on DWLL. It'd be like, and have the militaries turn inwards inside their countries and work on as peace officers to remove the internal violence inside their country, domestic violence, violence against kids, women. They say there's a battered woman on 911 every 20 seconds. One report said every 12 seconds. This is absolute proof that the collective consciousness of mankind has had a very severe psychotic break. I am a physical body, and I live in a physical world. Which is what? It's a complete statement that the person is psychotic. And sadly, it's spread across the human race like a contagion. You know, COVID isn't nothing as bad as this, because you are ultimately have no shape or form. It's a disembodied spirit. You're dead and born. You're ultimately a formless, boundless soul. Formless. Merged in a state of the formless Om, that which was in the beginning, primordial. That's ultimately what we all are. We're all one in that primordial, wherein God is one and there is one God. Okay, before your religion was, Om is. We are all one in this Om, and that's a little piece of us. Where I showed you that statue that plugs into the cloud, that little awakened soul, which it's dormant in almost everybody. Why isn't this taught in schools? Why isn't this taught to every kid? They don't want them to have power. They don't want their brain to develop fully into an eyeball. They'll keep it to themselves and make sure you don't know it. That's what you take the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and you don't go in, and you don't let others go in. And that's the type of hatred that we have to remove and move into militaries as peace officers, magnifying peace and working with it like that. So anyway, I was also going to bring up, I read in one book that when you are upside down, it's the only yoga exercise where it turns the chakras flip. They turn upside down. Okay, so that's interesting. I don't know anything about it. My seeing can't get to that. But it's just interesting. They turn upside down when you're in the headstand. I mean, they'll still be the right side up, but eventually they will flip the other way. Okay, and then so you have there a type of reverse engineering of ourselves. It's like that, like we reversed engineered the human being and arrived at a primordial state. Om, or in the beginning was the word. Okay, okay, and then I'm gonna go about that poem at the beginning of Tales of Power by St. Croix, Croix, C-R-O-I-X, the Crow Indians, I think. Yeah, it is. Anyway, it's a condition, this solitary bird it's called. And it says the 5 conditions of a solitary bird. And one of them was it points its beak at the highest peak. You know, and that's what this is. And this is pointing our beaks at the highest peak, the highest state of consciousness. Christ consciousness, the Buddhas of days of old are in there. They know their names, but they can still, there's hearing, but there's not the hearer. There's not the heard. It's the verb in the middle. Perceiving, the verb in the middle, up the middle of the yin-yang symbol. The perceiving is the line in the middle, the verb. The perceiver and the perceived are the other two sides of the yin-yang symbol. So that's why, when I speak to you, I realize I've come into your triangular-shaped rubber room, which is observation, observed, or experiencing, experiencer, experienced. It's triangulated. Reality is triangulated. Like, that's how they make GPSs. They have to have an outside point into a triangle to know the distance of the other two. So it's triangulated. The way a map, a GPS is triangulated, we triangulate reality that way. And so you're in this rubber room, but you're only seeing out, not the lens. You don't see in the lens that you're seeing through, and then you understand how you're seeing out. What's really out there was emanated out of you. It's your perception, yours, emanated, like the rainbow coming out of the pyramid in the Pink Floyd album. That's called a spectral photometer. We're like biological spectral photometers. A big word for you today. At any rate, I was just bringing that up, that it's the chakras turn upside down, and we're going. This is the highest peak. I've seen heavenly worlds. I've been in heavenly worlds. I've been with the unicorns, as a unicorn with a unicorn's horn on my body, like my astral body, but it didn't fit me. But it fits for other types of angels. And they fixate there. I don't fixate there because of meditation. I go straight back into the kingdom of Buddha, with that sitting on my head. I showed you that before, because that's what peace looks like, and that's on the edge of Om and formless reality and reality of the human form world, what it creates. So that's my resurrection. So people say, they go through their lives like, they have money, so they're above people, and they could be inhumane to everybody, and they go on these ego trips, and I just laugh, because Christ, when he spoke of treasures in heaven, those are real. That's real treasures in heaven. And he gave that gift of power to people that are saved and baptized, the born-again Christians. The unicorns, they're not the same as they were, and they're going to learn that, no, God wasn't just being God wanting to kill us and punish us. He was always loving us, only loving us. And we were punishing ourselves. We were fighting against the properties and the nature of God. It has principles. And I call those the lines around the yin-yang symbol, And then for there to be any, there has to be two. Yin-yang, getting inside, going past those lines, not crossing them. That could be called sin and virtue, I guess, to get through inside. Okay, then you have two. For there to be any, there has to be two. And then you go through the middle. The perceiving remains. The experiencing remains. The hearing remains. The seeing remains. But not the seen and the scenery, and the seer. Not the perceived and the perceiver. Just the perceiving goes, and you go through the yin-yang, the center of it, the middle path, and Om is behind that. Manifest before there to be any, there has to be two. Okay, and now I'm going to go into triple X-ray. Triple X X-ray vision. Seeing out, there's 3 layers of three body worlds or body realities. The first is physical, okay? Physical body, physical world. See through that, the very same physical world transforms to light when it's the body of light, world of light world. Okay. Now going through past that, we have the etheric body world. That's one in stillness. The mind that doesn't interrupt the mind of God. Meditated stillness is Asians, primarily almost 99%. Okay, but that's because the body of light can fall off, dematerialize and rematerialize. It'll dematerialize with meditation. Your ethereal body will rematerialize. You won't. The stillness will match the etheric world, not the etheric body, not the noisy mental plane of the astral body of light world. Okay, so then we see etheric body world. Okay, but then triple X-ray. Lastly, formless and void, as it was in the beginning. So it is now. Where did God go after creation? Still right here, right now, here, there, and everywhere. It's a layers, different like silhouettes, all of the same, but different perceiver, different perception. So, lastly, like a soul awareness, everything is formless and void. Not necessarily void. It's just formless. Everything is formless. The earth is formless. The earth is a ball of light. The earth is etheric. And lastly, the earth is formless. It's still, the primordial state still is there. It just has creation and layers of creation that came out of it are all still rooted in it. It's still there. So you go through triple X-ray vision and you can see the formless, that the earth still is formless, and from the perspective of a formless soul. Okay, so I went over that. I'm going over that. Lastly, I was coming to the end. Yeah, things still running. I was going to bring up the Egyptian, the All. They called what we call God the All. As I listened to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, I said the All, one God. God is one. All. That's the same as he's pointing at the formless. In the beginning was the All. You could say that. That's the Egyptian perspective. And then I looked at it and I said, Allah. So you see the All in the word Allah. Okay. And it doesn't matter what you say, because it's when you're bringing it into your rubber room, triangulated rubber room, perceiver, perception, perceiving, only the perceiving remains. That was rooted in our soul. That stays, but it's just the perceiving, not the configurated by the human form perception. Okay, and then you're in your straitjacket of 5 or 6 senses, and so you could see this is outside of your rubber room, and this is outside of your straitjacket, your 5 or 6 senses, what's experienced beyond that, because you are psychotic. I mean, I'm a physical body, I'm living in a physical world. Well, I mean, that's an absolute insanity. But it's functional. That's, you are functional inside, it's like, but it's not. It's falsehood. Where you live. Well, put it this way: deep inside, I'm just joy unspeakable. My cup runs over. Take a drink. You know. It's nice to know heaven is real. The light of heaven's raining on us right now, shining on us. So, anyway, the all and Allah, I associated that kind of with Allah, and then I looked at the headdress of the sheiks, or the Saudi Arabia type headdress. You see how that kind of resembles Egyptian pharaohs headdress, and then they and the all Allah, it goes back, is type of Egypt, and then they're right close by Egypt. So I just kind of associated that. But the bigger association I was making in this is that I said before, I see the Jews in a highway. See, I'm going to go into something. It's a little bit out there, but it was revealed to me by a Zen master, Jashu Sasaki, and not in this world, and not in an astral, an etheric world. Man, teachers like that are mind-blowing. It's like they gift hand-me-downs, gift to you just unreal knowledge and enlightenment. And it's almost like you didn't do it. You just prepared to receive it. And once you reached a certain place, they could bless you. Your mind was in the way of the mind that has to receive higher teachings. It was too noisy in your mind, and it acted as friction towards higher teaching. But anyway, that's the blocks, the Egyptian blocks that we see. Okay, and the soul, that's said to be the quietest, most still element, is stone, the rock, according to Sadhguru. And you see the blockiness of the houses and building construction type of in Japan. Well, when I experienced Jashu Sasaki, Roshi Jashu Sasaki, as a cube of Om on a stage. It was a stage in the physical world, but we weren't in the physical world. And I know he was a cube, but he was a cube of Om, just the soul, like the causal body. It's formless, but it's when we intend to emanate out of Om. Some guy said that before reality, anything happens, any creation. Some guy here on YouTube, he said it always takes the form of a cube first. Okay. Well, he was there, and some other monks were in the cube shape, or rectangle. And then I realized that the pyramids, these blocks, how they used to call them graveyards. Well, I believe not in the sense that we think of a grave, but I believe their burials they became those cubes of Om, the soul. As a disembodied spirit, I have no shape or form. I am dead and yet I'm born. They realized that way back in Egyptian days, and rested in the stone. And there's another story of Castaneda where he said he walk around the pyramids, ancient pyramids in Mexico, and suddenly a person appeared. And I've read about people, they watched them come out of the stone and go back into the stone. Okay, just strange stuff. I'm just bringing this up, but it's my perspective now that those stones of the Egyptian pyramids are graveyards, but not in the same, but of people that exist outside of time and space only. soul, but they're slightly in, but they're formless. In formlessness, they went into the stone. Okay, you go anywhere. So that's my perspective on ancient Jewish burial. And also that cube, the cube of Mecca. It's obvious to me that Muhammad is Ombing, that he reached that state. But that cube is where I showed you the cone without the ball on top. That's where that's experienced, that body world. Okay, then that body world dematerializes, and then the ball rests on top. That's a different body world. And the one with just a flat piece is resting on their head. That is another one. There are different levels, different worlds inside of different levels inside of the kingdom of Buddha. Okay, so I was just bringing that up. That's just something that's interesting me. So I see the Jews as from that perspective, from formless, and they say Christ said he was I was with you. I was the rock that followed you during the Exodus. One says that's a blue rock. Another version says this. So Christ spoke of his past life as an own being. Okay, so if Christ showed himself that way today, maybe as an own being like Allah, or like the cube in Mecca, or whatever, it wouldn't be recognized by ordinary people. So these are higher realities, body world, higher body, higher world, and the formlessness is the highest. That's the soul Om experience. Okay, and then I had a strange, it was either a dream or I was laying in bed, and I was listening to this guy Aaron Ra. He's pretty popular on YouTube, and I saw this big cube, or like a pyramidal stone, but it was an Om being, like I saw Rashi Jashu Sasaki. I saw that passing by, and I knew it was Aaron Ra, that guy that does YouTube videos. And I says, I have no shape or form as a disembodied spirit. I'm dead in the point. And he was in a formless Om dimension. And I just thought that was interesting. So I see the Jews as having accomplished that way back in Egyptian days. Like this, if this teaching goes public, it's these days will return. The wisdom of the ancients, as Proverbs says, wisdom is with the ancients. It'll return to modern man. And we've done all we can in this psychotic state, produced everything we can for physical body world. So we need to return to the wisdom of the ancients, because it's like the Amish people. They stayed back in the 1800s. They said that's no way that's gonna work. They have to sell their souls to fit in, and they're gonna go crazy, and they have. The human race has gone insane. So anyway, I just brought that up, and how it feels like you're in King Kong's hand. So I was a little shaky, a little scared, but I really wasn't. But if I didn't have that brain injury, I would have went on. But I got to play it differently. I got to still do it. I could still do it. Neuroplasticity, other parts of the brain take over, But because I was going back to work, I stopped. But I'm real happy that I was able to go from 14 years to about, let's say, less than 2 months. But there was also, I did maintenance 3-hour sessions to not lose it all, when I was working even. So anyway, I'm really glad, and I've showed you and invited you to come fly with me. Come fly with me, the Buddha's eagle in me. And understand Alan Watts when he says the only kind of Zen you'll find on mountaintops is the kind you bring up there. That's one point I dead wrong point on that he said. Alan Watts, there's an album by a guy named Wayne Gatz called An Eagle's Zen. And when you're dealing with formless reality and the nature of our celestial body could dematerialize and rematerialize, well, it could dematerialize and come back in an eagle, the form of an eagle. Go into Om, come back out as an eagle, because it willed it, it wanted it, it intended it, and will. And Om, it came out like that. Om is like, divine white living light is like your wish is my command. Om, he kind of somewhat. Okay, so an eagle's zen, and how Christ said, he tried to gather you as an eagle. He ended at this, but that's on the edge of Om. Then he could go from there right back into Om. So it's more of a casual thing of an Om being coming into form and going back into Om in the celestial worlds, but not here. Coming down to this physical world, that's so rare. Christ, and he came and he left a gift of power. It used to be in the ancients, they give gifts of power. They give gifts of power to each other, and it's in the form of teaching. This is mine to you. This is my gift of power that I'm leaving to you, making you have a chance to have a chance now. You don't, the way the world beats everybody up beats everybody up in a racing head syndrome, and they don't even give people a chance to have a chance. Like the soldiers in Ukraine, do they even have a chance to have a chance? Okay, and so you got the chance. You have the pretty. I think this is pretty clear instruction, and I've showed you the internal path inside. It's internal, and you're attuning to what's already here, but in layers of triple X-ray reality. Okay, it's there too. We're all immersed in Om. We're also immersed in divine white living light, the light of heaven. We're immersed in the sunlight, and immersed in physicality. We're also the body of light. It's all light. So there's different spectrums or silhouettes, layers, and in the same we're in the same experience. So this is my gift of power to you. Again, I call it the highest teaching, and it translates into Om, or God, or living awareness to a living God. You do the work, you get the heavenly pay, treasures in heaven. Okay, and then you won't be too focused. I'm not. I mean, I could have went the money way. My friends did, millionaires and all that. But I hope that showed you my wealth. Where there's ends, mine starts. So you just become distantly focused in that way. But the money and taking care of your physical stuff is still important, but because if you have too little, that's not conducive to experiencing higher states of consciousness. And if you have too much, that's not conducive to it either, because then you get entangled in it and further waste your hours in pleasures, sensory pleasures, and never going beyond internal into the eternal. You're always inside of time and space. So, and it's all you know. I'm a physical body in a physical world, and so I showed you that you're infinitely more than what you think you are, and infinitely more. And on the way, on the path, there's indescribably beautiful heavenly worlds awaiting us. And like I said, Christ gave that. The unicorn's horn's real. You guys say it's crazy, but because you're crazy. You're in a rubber room, triangulated rubber room, with a straitjacket on. Your 5 or 6 senses. So you'll say these things are crazy. I'll say, well, come out of there, and you'll be okay. You'll see that you are crazy. You are psychotic. So I hope this. My equation that I left you, 3 + 3 = 0. But I showed you that how I work that. I worked only 3, and then 3 of the other every other day, working into 3 and 3, but then my legs started giving me trouble. So I went all 3 and the headstand. And then the day after I did the Tai Chi and the yoga, it opened. 7 chakras started opening. So I'm very, very happy. Even though this is, a place in between happiness and sadness before all this. But I am ecstatic that I was still 14 years down to 2 months. I'll keep it around there, and then when I stop and take next winter off, I'll do it for sure. But at any rate, I thought it was important to get these out there because of the condition of the world. It's showing that the people are psychotic. It's actually manifesting now. They're uncomfortable in their own skin. You can't expect them to live that way. Let my people grow. And Savior commands to the commandment of Om. You're being a tough guy. You got to be a tough guy, kind of. That's our tough energy of Om. It's rough, thundering, rumbling, thundering energy, not feminine like the divine white living light. So save your toughness for that. Okay? And that, Om is infinitely greater than anything. Any tough guy or whatever, but just have that soldiering could be good for training for that. But now we got the queers running the soldiers. And that's not going to happen. In the next world, I guarantee you, the character of the soldiers is going to just... I feel sorry for those queers. I feel sorry for them. Because this is not the only world I know. And I've seen the masses going straight into hell, too. But this is just this tiny little breath, wind, going through and connecting you to that great, mighty rushing wind on the day of Pentecost. The Nowell's wind in Castanedia's Tales of Power. And in Zen, if I said a wind blows there, would it make a difference? So you have the connection to create in yourself a living awareness of the living God. And then you won't no longer identify with yourself as yourself. You'll realize, I don't even know who I am. And that's your condition. So I was just doing this to try to, this is my love. To God I will say, this is my love, my healing. The divine white living light going through me towards others, towards the benefit of others, and towards the collective. And that's my hope and prayer for you, towards you, that you gain a living awareness of the living God, and you can live from that perspective, and realize you didn't even know who you were. I mean, how crazy is that? I'm a physical body, and I live in a physical world. So that's all I had to say for now. I've really said everything I had to say. Not too much, man. One word, Om, and getting Om through this configuration of light and sound and light, audiovisual, getting that configuration that you're having into translating it into Om. So, at any rate, I mean, you guys went through a lot of trouble to create the internet and to provide me with a suitable platform to teach from. So I'm honored. So I'll do what I always do. Give you God. I give you God. Okay. Oh, I love to indulge in repulsive, belligerent arrogance, thunderstanding. That's what I hope this translates into, the thunderstanding, the rumbling, thundering Om. God bless you, and I hope you have a great eternity. And happy Good Friday.